Hello everybody, welcome back to HBM mod. Today, I didn't mean to jump into here. This is actually, you can't get out of here once you jump in, so don't do that if you, for some reason eventually have this world. I don't know why you would have this world eventually, but maybe you will. It's like 4 gigabytes, so probably not. I mean gigabytes, because here we don't call them gigabytes, we call them gigabytes. You're probably wondering, the heck is going on with all this iron? It looks so nice. Well, watz reactor been doing pretty good. It's kind of overkill on our iron production now, which is a slight issue because taking care of all of this iron and lead and stuff is not easy. We've got to dispose of it somehow, so I've set up this smart little system here, which takes care of all of that good stuff. Shoves it on the belt, and then smelts it down into ingots. Amazing. Right. Strontium. Fantastic. Anyway, I need to... And it turns out we actually made 9,000 steel ingots. I checked in our statistics. It's literally 9,000 steel ingots. And we haven't used them all. So you know that we have at least 4,000 right now. Which is pretty ridiculous, but it's to be expected. Because steel is something you need a lot of, so... Let's go ahead and make a doohickey. I mean, a bunch of crates. I don't know what we're doing today. I forgot what we're doing today. Oh, we're either getting space garreled or we need to start work. No. We're making more anti-shrobidium and stuff. Yes. Now let's go ahead and check on our actual energy storage. Its problem is not got enough energy always. Not got enough energy. I mean, it's got like, what, 125 GHz? Oh my gosh, now it's actually starting to become an issue. I'm calling everything GHz. This crate's doing absolutely nothing over here. Get this rubbish over here and taken care of at the disposal site. I think we can merge these. But first, I'm gonna get these guys set into processing because it's kind of a waste to just have them all sitting here doing absolutely nothing. So, you all know about the dinosaurium item we have to make. It's called the Spark Energy Cube. Yeah. To get that, I need to do some stuff and things. And I'm sorry about these alarms, but I'm not able to turn these off because it's a safety violation, okay? If I turn them off, there's a severe chance that I won't know what this thing is doing and it could explode at any second. So... That's the one time I'm gonna say that, is that if you hear alarms, that's because that thing is currently processing stuff and things, and, I mean, it's really complicated how it works, so I'm not even gonna try to explain it again, because I've upgraded it now, so it's even more complicated. Now, let's go ahead and cook up some antimatter. It turns out, you can make antimatter in the cyclotron. It's... I didn't know you could make antimatter, but you can. How do you make antimatter, dude? How do you make it? Come on. We must make the antimatter. To make an antimatter cell, you must. You cannot make this in the cyclotron. That guy was lying to me. You can make anti-shrobidium. You cannot make antimatter. I'm not sure where this is coming from. Box of plutonium plus antimatter cell, blah blah blah. You can make it in the accelerator. So let's see about making some of the stuff in the accelerator. You need to take a stack of these guys, hit them with a stack of lithium, then you gotta turn them into neptunium. We've done this before. It's pretty simple stuff. Let's turn them into powder. I hate making this antimatter, but it's kind of something we have to do at this point, is make antimatter, because to make the actual singularity, you must get antimatter. We're going to also make some more spark energy stuff today because we'll be making specific antimatter black hole thingies, which are really terrifying to work with. And I think I'm going to start a new protocol with these to not do them in the base because less risk of stuff going wrong if you go do it out in the middle of a wasteland. Plus, it's free nuclear waste disposal, the way I see it. So, that's going to come in handy. Here's Neptunium. So, we're going to go from Neptunium to plutonium, and we'll go from the other stuff to the other stuff. So, that's interesting. Is there any other things I can make in the cyclotron that are, like, really funny? Like bromine or something? What is bromine good for? Absolutely nothing in it. Is bromine, it's good for halogen floodlight, eh? Who cares? It's not useful. Crystal. Maybe. Well, actually, that's, yeah, it's a definite yes. Crystals are useful. This thing. So, if you need an titanium blend, you don't gotta go get Tricksite. You can actually make it yourself. Which is nice. But, I prefer to not do that. There's also iodine, which is used in iodine tablets, isn't it? Let's see about iodine. Yes, iodine. Oh, it removes negative. That's not how that works. The reason this works is because the iodine goes into your thyroid, which prevents the radioactive iodine from doing that. That's the simplest way to explain it. I'm not sure why it would remove all negative effects. It's not what is it called? Not what's that one SCP called? That's like that one pill and it cures everything. Yeah, it's not one of them. You mean it's just milk and a pill? It's just milk and a pill. It's a pill of milk. It's pilk. Wah, 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 wah. That's the alarm. Actually, that's one of the alarms. The other one's a different alarm. It's... Oh, crap. It's filled up again. Yeah, this thing goes through crates like it's absolutely nothing. This thing kind of does, but not really. Currently, all of these are draining out, which is why the alarm is blaring. There's like 3 of these guys are full right now. 2 of them aren't. But they all have to drain before the system is going to reset. Because once this guy resets, or once this guy gets down to empty basically, this will indicate that there's nothing left, causing this to flip on, causing this to flip this pulse shortener, causing the whole thing to go whoosh, and then move this guy back over to here. Which this is triggering the actual inverter for the actual gate here. And this is always going to override this. It's not an inverter, so it's not an XOR gate. This is just telling this other thing to shut up because it's in charge, right? So that's how those 2 parts work. The other part of the system is this AND gate, which determines when they're all full to switch this thing over to here, back into this state. So, essentially, and that also runs through the pulse shortener because you have to shorten the redstone pulse for it to work into this T flip-flop here. There is another T flip-flop where you don't need to do that, but I didn't use that one because I like that one. So, that's how that works. But, let's go ahead and talk about the other T flip-flops because I used them in another place. Also, you're probably wondering what this is. This is actually an instant repeater. It's the fastest repeater you can make. It's instant. It's legitimately instant. So, better than a regular repeater because a regular repeater adds tick delay if you're unaware. Now, this system here is a very interesting system. I got buttons on these so I can fire them whenever I want. But basically, if this torch fires, it'll fire this toggle flip-flop because I didn't want to make a pulse shortener for every single one. And then it fires into this guy. So these guys don't actually need pulse shorteners. But if you want to trigger them manually, sometimes you'll have to do it by breaking the redstone and placing it back because sometimes these guys are too full for that and the torch will already be on and override your actual signal. And for some reason, they sometimes flip back, which is due to a glitch with the system, where if this first tank manages to drain all of its input into these other tanks without, like, fully draining into the centrifuges, it can actually cause everything to switch back and fight back against me because I've designed it too good. But anyway, this line actually connects up to that first tank and flips the flip-flop back on these guys. And these are one-sided flip-flops, so the data is stored on this side, and it only detects the data if it's on this side, and then turns on these guys, like so. The other part of this are these AND gates, and I didn't really go over these completely. Basically, all of these are inverters, and all of them have to be off for this guy to turn off. But there's something else that's interesting here. You'll notice these actual poisonous mud pipes, they connect to barrels underneath these guys, allowing us to have a super compact way of creating a diode, basically, because HBM doesn't have fluid diodes yet, or at least at the time of recording. August 1st. Oh, it's August Fool's Day. Holy crap, dude. Are you kidding me? It's August Fool's and nobody told me? What? Okay. Well, that's an issue, because August Fool's Day, I gotta celebrate it. Anyway, yeah, that's what's going on over there. That's the sirens. And you're gonna hear those for like the next 3 episodes probably, because it can take upwards of like an hour to drain all of them into the centrifuges, which is kind of bad. You're probably asking if it is a safety violation to not have those alarms going off. Then can I just set up like soundproofing or like maybe earmuffs or something? No, there's no earmuffs, so that's not happening. And secondly, if I set up soundproofing, then that also defeats the purpose of having an alarm, so that way I know when things are happening. Which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Alright, so while we're producing antimatter, there's some stuff we should probably start doing, which is moving oil. I've been wanting to move the oil setup for a little bit now, and actually set it up better. Because this is kind of like all of the oil setup that we need, but it's just not the best way we could set this up. Probably gonna be better when we set it up the second time, so we'll have a different setup for this. It's gonna be interesting moving all of this though, because I don't know how I'm gonna move all of this. I'm not even sure what I'm gonna do about it. Some of these things, they need to finish their actual processing, and to do that I need to go mine oil out of the ground and then bring it to them. I gotta cut the chlorine gas pipe, of course. So let's get started with that. That should be our first objective then. It's cutting this thing. We're gonna probably move it into the building. So, and I've been wanting to do this on my own, but I just never got to it, because it's not really something it's super important. But, I didn't want to do it because it's kind of like a thing that, like, I just don't really want to mess up the second time, which is kind of a problem. Alright, so the way I'm going to get oil to the setup is that I'm going to just hook up the old oil setup over to the newer oil setup, and then we'll somehow end up combining these eventually to make one big oil setup. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but when we get a fracking tower, which we still need to set up, I think that will be one of the next things I do, because a fracking tower would certainly be useful sometimes. This guy can be moved, because, I mean, he's not got any natural gas, so we're pretty much clear on that. Alright, I think we're basically set once we hook this up. Let's set the oil, and then we'll have the whole pipeline hooked up, and it should just be crude oil. Yeah, it seems like it's doing the job. Gasoline, coal gasoline, that needs to be disposed of. I've heard you can actually tweak how much these use by just using a screwdriver. Do I even have a screwdriver on me? That's actually a pretty good question. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I can only go up to 10, which is a lot of thermal units, isn't it? 10 millibuckets per tick. So anytime this activates, it will use 10. but that's also because it's not actually going to be having enough, right, to actually run usually. I guess we'll just run a crate of lead and iron through it. Alright, so the coal gasoline is now getting flowing out. The oil is now being disposed of. Yeah, look at it go. Crude oil. Awesome. And that's causing us to produce stuff and things, so that's pretty good. We're making hard plastic again. Amazing. Phosgene is being made. Chlorine gas. Unsaturated hydrocarbons are another thing we're going to need for that. Looks like we got some unsaturated carbon. No, we don't. Dang it. It's because they all went to rubber or something stupid. I mean, that's going to be a waste of chlorine, but might have to happen that way. Do we make unsaturated hydrocarbons anywhere else, or no? Don't think we do. Alright, I've begun tearing out the first of the different machines and things from the oil plant, which is mainly just the catalytic cracking tower and a bunch of other things. We do got some machines that we can't tear out yet, namely these fractioning towers, chem plants, tanks here. Although, some of these tanks can go already. I'm not sure which ones, of course, because it's been so long since I set this up. Some of these can and can't go, which is kind of the issue. I think this bitumen tank can go, but I'm not too sure